With Skarbrand's mighty warhost cornered and obliterated, and Settra's crown and sacred blade returned to him, Khemri could once again look towards rebuilding the lost glory of the Empire. While more and more of the ancient legions of old were being unearthed and raised into service, the clink and clatter of tools and bones of skeletal craftsmen, laboring untiringly to rebuild monuments and roadways of old, could be heard across the whole of the Empire. Settra's pyramid itself needing a small town's worth of workers to rebuild damaged and stolen sections with brand new marble and gold, taking no small pains, of course, to improve further upon the original magnificence of the Great King's tomb. But darkness still blights the edges of his resurging kingdom, and a massive horde of undead now converge on the springs of eternal life, with only the last Vizier of Qatar and a small host of defenders in their ruinous path. Sehenesmet gazed out over the walls at the seething mass of rotting flesh and shattering bones surrounding the city. More and more had been streaming in from the south as the hours wore on, converging on a lone necromancer bearing the mark of the Drakenhoff conclave. The Vizier was unconcerned with the foolish bag of bones wreathing feeble corpses, but the vampiric beasts that accompanied this ragtag group raised concerns, as surely this mortal had not the aptitude to bind these monstrous creatures to his will. Scouts he had sent earlier into the dunes to check his suspicions had not returned, nor were they expected to at this point. Sehenesmet had already sent word to the Great King of Khemri asking for additional reinforcements to help drive the undead horde from the Oasis town, and the message back from Settra was a simple one: "We do not serve." He hefted the colossal sacred crook of Shrepesh, and the skeletal legions of Khemri strode to war. And we have sallied forth to meet the enemy. Just take a moment to appreciate Sehenesmet's model there. He's kind of hanging out in the center, kind of as a walking throne for him. Got the Necrolith Colossus with his gigantic crook slash scythe, which I believe is pretty close to the same thing. They just call it something different. But looks absolutely amazing. The Warriors of Nehekara ride. Oosh. We've got our chariots charging forth. The scariest units the enemies are rolling with are obviously going to be these Vargheists and the Vargulf, the big cuddly fat bat, and the big flappy boys with their mohawks. They've got almost no armor, but are incredibly potent in melee with that 110 armor piercing. It's not fully armor piercing, but pretty close. 77. So the overall plan was to send the chariots forward. We need to do as much damage as we can before Manfred's reinforcing army shows up. Had them targeting the Vargheists, which were just slightly out of range at the moment. As the other chariots scream on in just to slam into these zombies, there's going to be absolutely no resistance as they hit. So we might as well do as much damage as we can. Cleaving trenches through their lines. Nothing's going to get in the way. That bat, though, has decided it likes the taste of bones and is charging on in to munch on our chariots, which are trying to quickly get away. Take a bit of damage on the escape, but no chariots explode. The others are going to continue to rotate around. An absolute blanket of arrows flies on in. The archer legions have unnatural precision. Vargheists have been incredibly injured on the way in, but they're going to go find themselves a juicier target. They decide the Guard of Eternal Life is a perfect target. 3 units slam into them all at the same time. It's going to be a nasty time unless they get some help. So Sehenesmet's moving over to assist, as well as the Wheels of Qatar rolling on over. Slam into the back of these Crypt Ghouls here, because that was by far their most elite infantry. Sehenesmet looking to get in a boxing fight with this fat bat. Socking it right in the side of the head. As the Crypt Ghouls learn what a rear charge from a chariot feels like. We are more or less bullying them. We've got the other Tomb Guard ready to charge on in, and indeed they do so. I'll be here in a moment. But this group of zombies shouldn't last long either way. An arrow fells Bobo the zombie there. The most eager of Lich Priests charging in first. Slicing that man's head off as the rest of the Tomb Guard ride. Manfred is charging directly on in though, so we do have some things to worry about. Our chariots got sent forward to just do some damage to the approaching zombies, and they did a very good job. We do have Fellbats and Dire Wolves rolling in as well, so we just need to deal with this fat bat as soon as possible. It sees some archers, but luckily gets distracted and turns back around to fight Sehenesmet. Our chariots continuing to harry any troops that have actually impacted our front line. If you're there, we're going to smush you against the shields. Fellbats charging on in. An excellent place for them to be is in combat with our spears and shields instead of fighting with our archers. That unit decided to come back to the archers, and there it goes. It's going to land now. Bit of indecision for the AI. The next scariest unit are now charging on in. These Crypt Horrors are going to be nasty. They've got regeneration, armor piercing, and they do a ton of damage. The Sehenesmet still having a punch fight with a big bat. He's decided it is not worth his time and it shall fall to arrows. Down the big cuddly bat goes as Sehenesmet punches out some more, some Dire Wolves. The other plan was to keep any important targets away from Manfred. He's going to be an absolute menace. So if we can just bog him down with some cheap and cheerful chaff that we don't care about, that would be ideal. Tomb Guard and Spearman working together to bring down this White King and Crypt Horror. They're going to probably need some help. Archers have plenty of ammunition still. They're about, most of them sitting at about half or a little bit more. Sock to the crook. Hit at least 3 of them, and not a lot of damage going down. Rear charge from those chariots, doing what it can. Just charging around to cause as much ruckus as possible. There's not much here that can stop these things once they start charging. Skeletons losing their heads. Another group of zombies is completely mowed down by our chariot wheels. I wish we could get some blades on the wheels themselves, kind of like they would have. I believe they even show them on the thing with the bladed wheels, but that may be difficult for the model to have. But a little bit of a blade to the wheel would make it extra gnarly as it rides on in. And Sehenesmet's getting in a fight with Crypt Horrors and Crypt Ghouls, as well as some Skeleton Spearmen, punching them all out. His Colossus fears nothing. Mage is continuing to harry Manfred or the White King. I was just switching between the two with his Melkoth's Mystifying, just getting a little bit of damage on them, keeping them bogged down. I guess this one actually went through those Crypt Horrors, trying to eat through that regeneration as fast as we could there. They were a nasty unit and we needed to kind of isolate and destroy. I will be soon changing Archer Fire to all available arrows firing on Crypt Horrors of either kind. That's stomping more underfoot. Give him another smack. Was that was time they got the right hook. The right hook of Petra. Running away from the White King as fast as he can and cleaving a man's head off as he can. Survived the decapitation because he's a zombie and that's how it be. More absolute carnage from our chariots. Yeah, these zombies just had no way of stopping them, so every charge is going to do something like that. Basically turn them into rotten human mulch. Another unit of skeleton warriors has fallen. I was trying to figure out exactly which. We did lose a few warriors, but luckily no one who is currently on Sehenesmet's squad, so all in all, losses have been minimal. Doing the Nekara disco. And running up and punching Manfred right in the side of the head, as he deserves. We will get back to that punch fight here in a moment. Arrows coating the zombies charging on in. Getting that hammer and anvil charge as much as possible. We are starting to run dry on ammunition, so more smacks from the greater staff. Size is everything when your staff is the size of a skyscraper. Blades out, showing them that they have prowess with not only their bows, cutting down some more peasants of the Empire. Corpse cart cheering on the men, adding its flames and magical attacks to any of its nearby allies. It is about giving a Manfred another punch to the side of the head. And another. Our Lich Priest is fighting just about the only enemies he is capable. Some zombies, and still getting some help. Immediately all of them are cleared off. Maybe you can finish that guy. A little bit late, buddy. Manfred with another sizable hook to the side of his head. And again. Sehenesmet doesn't play, he just keeps swinging. Tried to get a rear charge in there, doing some Dark Souls combat, but Sehenesmet stomps on him. Happens in Dark Souls too. They have the stomp combo, you never expect it. Our skeleton spearmen holding their own just fine. They retain all of their combat prowess, unlike these zombies, who are having to get boosted by dark magic. Manfred is trying to run away from Sehenesmet. I was wanting to watch. I was hoping we didn't miss the epic confrontation, but he keeps just trying to run and heal up on someone else because he knows he can't win an overall fight with Sehenesmet. Another smack with a crook. Big ol' game, you can't reach me. Ineffectively attacking his kneecaps. Balefire carts being harassed on the other side there. And Manfred flees. And another right hook. Finish him off. Manfred desperately casting spells, all but it doesn't matter. He falls yet again. You can't claim our settlements. Can't even keep your own under control. We just got to deal with these last two Balefire carts and their Necromancer, and that is the victory. His Staff of Many Skulls not saving him from the absolute shellacking he's getting from everyone around him, and he falls, bleeding out of a wound on his neck. Doomguard cheering along. The last hero remaining was the White King, who looks quite awesome, but is not doing a lot of fighting back. Ah, there he goes. Batting aside some soldiers. As Sehenesmet continues to punch the enemies that are around him. And that's the victory. The White King gives up. Manfred's armies repelled. Our borders secure. Starting off with a resounding victory against Manfred and his Necromancer friend. What are the hordes of the undead against the Legion of Nehekara? They are nothing. 312 kills for the melee chariots and 293 for the missile variant. We did end up losing 2 of the blades, but that is a fantastic victory. We will go ahead and take the Endless March. We need more movement. It is going to be necessary. So now Sehenesmet is a Moonraker as well. We can swing on in here and give him some skill points. I think we'll go for Route Marcher to increase his movement speed, or movement range, even further. We have 20% for the next couple turns just for the Endless March. So we're going to prioritize, or at least take advantage as much as we can. We will go for Joff's Incantation and the Restless Dead to make sure we're healing the entire army. And then we'll move over to Berek.
Me as your highness.
Probably won't be doing that, sir, but we'll grab the replenished troops, rather, and then Melkoth's Mystifying. Work towards Smoke and Mirrors, give our army a little bit of extra speed. since most of the boys in this force are going to be replaced with... Well, I can't tell you. You're not under siege anymore. Go ahead and recruit those troops on up, bud. Maybe we've got to put them back in. I will add those soldiers back on in. In between episodes, we went ahead and built up the Great Pyramid of Settra and added in the funerary district here, a great mortuary house, and then upgraded Casa Bar to grab a parched oasis and the regnant catacombs. So much upgrades to be had. I'm going to make sure the forces get upgraded better. Please put back in over here with Sehenesmet, and then we will send him out to fight Manfred and Melchior next turn. Slight change of plan. We're going to come into the Regiment's Renown and give him the Blessed Legion of Fox, the skeleton archers with armor sundering missiles. We'll grab those, throw them on in, and then we're going to send them out to kill Melchior and maybe Manfred if we're able to move over there in time. We can hunt them down one at a time. Oh, you're very tall there, Sehenesmet. He's about as tall as your knee. So we should just kick this man across the room. If we auto-resolve it, we won't lose anyone. Yeah, that's very true. But I think we'll be weakened so that it'll be difficult to fight the next battle against Manfred. So let's go war. Kick this poor necromancer. The cowards try to flee into the desert. The desert is no safe haven for you. Let's finish them off. We've got the chariots steaming on forward. We have a little bit of damage on these Vargolf. We got to be careful, and they will be regenerating the whole time. So they're going to be a little bit more healthy than we expect as they approach. Still, the most deadly units are still going to be these Vargeists here. They are a glass cannon unit. Do a very good job of it. Arrows sticking into their hide. A little bit of blood dripping down to their allies below. They're going to be ignoring it completely. A nice blanket of arrows coating the Mohawk individuals. One already falls. We're having the chariots kind of bog down the Vargolf here. We're just trying to keep as much damage as we can on our main single entities. That way they can heal it up easier than the others. Just gonna wade through these enemies. They don't even have any consequence. Each punch is going to kill a good 5 or 6 models. Got the chariots steaming around, keeping the Vargolf busy, playing a good game of chase. Another blanket of arrows coming in, maybe hitting the wrong unit, completely deleting that unit though, as they fall to their knees. Lich Priest, they're completely ignoring the Lich Priest, the blind zombies here. He stands there like a champion, ignoring them. Or does he? Turning around and giving him a wombo combo on the side of the head. That group of zombies falls quickly. And now it is Vargolf and Crypt Horror versus Sehenesmet. Don't know what happened here. This looks like a flop. We're going to give him a $5,000 fine. The big bat doesn't actually want to fight. Oh, and he gives him a sucker punch to the back of the head. Or at least the back of the knee. As big as the Vargolf is, it is nothing compared to the Colossus. Giving him some smacks. Oh, but the Crook will send them flying. Nekaph mystifying, trying to knock off a little bit of that armor, as well as the Curse of Kassar. Nekaph is for just some damage, trying to counteract his regeneration. Blanket of arrows finishes off the Necromancer once more. And the final confrontation. Apparently the Vargolf decided that that was enough. Pet, better luck next time. Another undead ne'er-do-well crushed underfoot. Sehenesmet took a bit of damage there. We're going to need to keep him back in the fight with Manfred, but if we are able to lure them into the archers and not send the big boy out to fight everything alone, we should do quite a bit better. Go ahead and continue to grab the Endless March. More gold. And more movement. Sehenesmet is up to... Just kidding, he did not gain any extra experience there. We'll go for Berect and give him the... Do we need Spoken Mirrors just yet? The Withering seems pretty good. Also, Penumbral Pendulum can knock apart formations. We're not really fighting formations just yet. I think we'll go for Smoke and Mirrors. And one more battle. See if Manfred will allow us to auto-resolve and lose anyone. No losses, so Manfred is crushed in the auto-resolve. Mush. Took almost no damage, 65 losses. 12 kills for the Tomb Guard. For this group, I think we'll go ahead and bind their souls. That way we gain plenty of extra replenishment next turn. So we'll scoot back into the Springs of Eternal Life. I don't believe there's any good recruitment there. And then we'll give you, I think, one more group of spearmen. They're not going to hold long, but we definitely need some spears. A couple more chariots. And then 2 more archers and then some warriors. His army's filling on out. We're going to replace most of these troops with chariots, not chariots, Ushabti and different constructs, but we're not quite there yet. So once we have that kind of gold rolling around, and once the buildings have been upgraded as well. So let's swing over to Kimri. We will upgrade the chariot works here to a skull repository, giving us access to some screaming skull catapults and more archer chariots, as well as over here with the crypt barracks. I think I'm going to remove it here pretty soon. So we're going to delete this one and put in one of the either growth or money buildings. But I would like Sehenesmet to have these soldiers recruited in before we do that, because we're going to be over our overall archer cap. So Settra is sitting at 19. He can't do any recruitment now. I was going to throw in the Archer Legion of Fox, but I think I would rather get him either some more Tomb Guard or just more chariots. More chariots for Settra. And actually, to make sure we're not using all of them. Perfect. This time, Sehenesmet gained some experience. We'll come over here, and I think we would like Syrians is very, very strong. Get the Blessings of Sepesh at rank 10. A little ways away. He's definitely a more defensive lord then, isn't he? Less campaign movement range for enemy armies. Oh, also, he can chase people down. Sehenesmet is a scary lad. Physical resistance would make him very, very tanky. I think we want the damage spell, though. We already have the Melkoths, but it's kind of weak overall.
I alone shall restore
the same amount of damage as Syrians, and we're making up stuff. Where do Syrians hide? 62 to 125 and 25% less speed. I think it's exactly the same, isn't it? Yeah, it's exactly the same as Melkoths. Fair enough.
Address me as your highness.
Though you are a lowly servant of Sokth, I have an offer to put before you. Do you know who I am? You want military access. Why do you need it, Khalida? You're over here in Labadas. You need to be worrying about the vampires and Clan Moors before you offer me anything. Especially calling me a servant. Our research is complete. Melee attack increase for Nekar warriors, Tomb Bark, and the chariot units, and melee defense as well. And then our Great Incantation of Tahath has expired, allowing us, I believe, to, well, once we have the funds again, get another Casket of Souls. Yes, please.
Petra watches.
Straw does watch. We're up to 2 on our population surplus. We need to get 4 before Kimri can be turned into a tomb city. So actually, I think in order to increase our overall mortuary cult, we're going to upgrade the Springs of Eternal Life here to a Mastaba, using one of those growth. And then once that one upgrades, we can add the marble. Here, Qatar, we're going to continue to... We'll go ahead and delete this building now. Get Settra moving. Werner is at Bhagar. I think I want to move Sehenesmet past and after Antoch, keeping our allies from beating us to claiming that. So we are going to sprint on over, staying in our lands.
I deign to move.
Waddle on over, sir. And then Settra can do the same. Moving between Springs of Eternal Life. And then we'll add him some extra chariots. For our dynasties, we have enough of these where we could grab these. These are canopic jars. We have enough canopic jars, we can grab a Priesthood of Petra, giving us access to one more Lich Priest and the Disciples of Petra to my Regiment Renown pool, which is something I'm quite interested in. Necrotech would be really good too. We don't have another king option, but getting Nekaph would also be quite amazing. His army gets an additional range and melee attack when fighting in the desert. It'll be very good to be defending our borders. Let's first grab the Priesthood here to gain that extra Regiment Renown unit. And then with Settra, throw in some chariots. Good stuff. I absolutely cannot wait till we get access to the Royal Chariots. They are armor-piercing and have nearly where are these chariots at. We've got nearly double the weapon strength, so it's going to be awesome. They are going to be basically lawnmowers. Tassamar can be upgraded to a mausoleum. Very good idea to get that going. So we are going to be claiming back the rest of this province in a blitz maneuver. Just so everyone's aware, where we're not really doing a whole lot as far as diplomacy, or the Court of Labaris especially. Well, I think I'm happy to go in here to Drakenhoff and give them...
Know that you broke out with great power.
Well, see, I don't want to have to break too many treaties. How much money will you get? 1 gold. See, not a whole lot of worth it, but I will happily sign this treaty with you to make these other factions more likely to go to war with me. Why? Couldn't tell you.
Bring me Neferata's head.
But as far as the Queen of Labaris goes, one of our overall objectives is going to be to crush her. So, while she will be added to our empire through the defeated Legendary Lords mod, it will be through combat. She must be tested before she can join our empire. The more refugees of war. The Nekaph dynasty seek refuge. We will accept them. Highborn of Kimri, Sehenesmet. Perfect. And then we gain the Priesthood of Petra, getting the Disciples of Petra. And then mission aborted. Capture and occupy a settlement belonging to the enemy. Oh, he moved a little slow on that one. That's unfortunate. I didn't quite expect him to get killed now. So Arkhan is quite a bit closer, and he's got a Plague of the Crow going. That sounds all sorts of awful. Before we get too far into enemy territory, let's grab Prince Nebethar here, and I want him to keep an eye on Skarbrand. He still hasn't lost any territory, and I foresee him coming back to attack Numas as soon as he can. Prince Nebethar is going to remain here. Settra is going to attack Bhagar. Sehenesmet attacking Antoch, and finishing off the undead horror in one fell swoop. Swing into our dynasties real quick, though. I think it's a good idea to grab as many of these as we can since they're so cheap on research rate. We can work on towards another dynasty because it's going to take 18 whole turns. It's going to be a little while. So I think we'll grab even more charge bonus. Sounds crazy. More weapon strength for chariots as well. I like armor and weapon strength. Let's go for first dynasty plans. We've got the cash for the patronage of Nekaph, though, which would give us another Tomb Prince. It'll only take 1 turn. We may come back to that one. We can recruit up the Lich Priest. We have one of Shadows currently. Senuferet is a crypt genius. In life, he was a genius, able to advise kings and queens on even the most esoteric of issues. Little has changed in the past 4,000 years of one life, giving him an additional 5% research rate. That may by itself be all we need. Eternal is 5% physical. Treacherous is non-trustworthy. This man is very limber. And no, as much as I'm not really wanting a Death Priest, Crypt Genius is winning Senuferet the job.
Arise, my warriors.
Perfect. Back up to 91%. And let's get these battles going. We'll start off with Settra versus Bhagar. Warner's gonna hide over here. It's gonna give us a decisive victory. We could auto-resolve it, but I'm having a great time fighting out these battles, so let's get to it. A small and relatively poor city, Bhagar was once the home of nomads and expert horsemen that often survived through the banditry of Nehekaran merchant caravans. Over time, however, the city became rich and prosperous through becoming a hub for the very trade they once plundered. as it had the only maintained roadway to the lands far to the south. Since the time of their nomad ancestors, the patron god of Bhagar has been Kassar, the faceless god of the desert winds. The undead weaklings have sallied out to face Settra to their doom. Let's get this battle going. We've got our normal core of forces set on up. I've got the archers in a bit of a different formation. Chariots I was going to use to just annihilate his, just charge directly in, kill his mobility as fast as we can. It looks like he was aware. They're going to try to charge back in and hide amongst their spears. Office. Slithering along the sand. His target, the Grave Guard, acting as the Lord for this battle. The Grave Guard receive an absolutely devastating charge from those chariots who continue on through. Arrows flying in to coat the chariots, who are being a little bit of a tank at the moment. They're just kind of sitting in. They've got a good bit of melee defense at this point, so they're able to absorb a lot more damage than you would expect. Arrows flying on in. They looked a bit cold. Got a unit that's chasing my chariots all the way to the edge of the map there, which was good fun. Kind of an ineffective Wrath of Tra, but I do believe it did clip them, so they did catch on fire for that. The Doom Swarm helping out Apophis with his battle against these spearmen, although he doesn't need it. Each swing is going to be doing a ton of damage. Any model he touches is going to just die. They have no choice. Charge assists him, wiping out that unit fully, and continuing on to wipe out these other two as well. What choice do they really have but to die against Settra? And in short matter, Bhagar falls back under Khemri control. And not a soldier lost in the reclaiming of Bhagar, as it should be. We could sack Bhagar for a good deal of gold. That's a lot of money. I think we would have to spend more to actually rebuild it, so we're going to go ahead and occupy. Kepra Guard has now been unlocked, which is amazing. Dual sword Doom Guard there. Perfect. And then Sehenesmet, I'm going to recruit him on in. Not the Kepra Guard, but these Disciples of Petra, which are monstrous flamethrower cavalry. You guys count as constructs, right? Well, either way, they are gigantic cobras that spew flames, apparently. And there are 3 Kepra Guard now. Interesting, so like, they replenish over time, you can have 3 of them total. The whole front line of Kepra. That would be horrifying for the enemy. We will go ahead and recruit in just the disciples for now. And then we are going to unleash them upon Antoch, burning it of its, well, its corruption. Let's encircle for now. We know we know we will win this one, but we have to see the flamethrower cobras in action. Let's grab Settra. And then Founder of Khemri, I believe I would like to grab. Founder of Khemri, and then we'll grab Tra, and then we will recruit in the Tomb Princes. We have 1 new Tomb Prince. Sinufaret here is happy to be where he's at. Keep you on Scootin'. Need you to keep an eye on what's going on with Skarbrand. Werner should not be able to recruit up anything scary enough to fight it back. Here at Bhagar. Ooh, it's already got some chariots in. Let's delete that building. Not super useful. Sepulchre give us access to more carrion and research rate. I actually don't think we need this. Let's delete both of these buildings. We'll put in the gem mine. And then we will go to war with Sehenesmet. The mighty fortress city of Antoch was founded at the conclusion of the Crusades into Araby by Bretonia. Upon victory, some of the knights chose to stay and continue to purge the evils they encountered while on their holy quest for the Lady, and so Antoch was built to act as a bastion and staging ground. The fortress met an untimely end when it was razed to the ground by a vast war host led by Lord Mazda Mundi to claim artifacts stolen by the Bretonnians, in a titanic and brutal clash that became known as the Battle for Antoch Plains. Since its destruction, countless Tomb Kings have laid claim to the site, and through reshaping and rebuilding, the city now looks as though it was always a part of ancient Nehekara. We must ensure these lands fall back under the control of Khemri. And we will start this purification off by taking a closer look at the Disciples of Ptra. They are a monstrous flamethrower cavalry, of course. They're anti-infantry as spellcaster and have that special flamethrower ranged weapon, which can be that staff there. They are not constructs this version, they are just normal old undead, so they are going to have not the additional bonuses from Sehenesmet, sadly, but they are able to fire on the move. They have Encourage. They have the Curse of Kassar once they get below 50% HP, so they can drop enemy armor by 60 additionally, which is kind of insane with this missile strength. And then they also have Vigor Mortis, so they are basically a corpse cart. They give everyone around them an additional 5 to their melee attack and defense, and a Vigor replenishment of 1% per second. They also have a fire resistance of 63%, and then that spell resistance of 60, so they have an additional base spell resistance that comes with them, along with Sehenesmet's. They've got 138 missile strength that burnt, so their leadership is going to be dropped on enemies. They also have magical and flaming attacks, and then once they do get into melee, they are armor-piercing and anti-infantry. So they are an absolutely nasty unit. They are able to get bogged down and killed because there are so few of them, but as long as we keep them back a little ways and use them to rear charge, they should do wonders. Let's get this battle going. Got our chariots out to the side and some hiding off in the woods over there, then our main body force in the middle with Sehenesmet looking to smash in on those Graveguard Rudolph over there. Chariots are working as usual to move in and annihilate their mobile troops here. Mara's going in, doing very little damage, but the chariot wheels, however, will do plenty. Rip and tear. The bats thought about charging on down, but they've decided the flamethrower cobras are a much juicier target, and they get doused in flame. They're able to get into melee, though, so I'm trying to pull them on back, even though they could probably stick in and fight just fine. I'd rather they don't. See if we can get them tied up on another unit or blast in some more fire. Areas are rotating around to the other side, and our arrows are flying on in and giving the zombies a new blanket as they blanket the ground in their blood. Our brand's missing out. Nehekara warriors charge on in. Zombies too, clubs raised. Some of them got swords. Sehenesmet back there giving him a right hook. Punching 8 or so of them out of existence. Tombguard versus zombies battle is not going to go the way of the zombies. Heads and limbs flying with each swing of the Kapesh. And the flamethrower troops were giving the skeleton warriors here an old douse of flame. Ritual purification through violence. And that eunuch basically got entirely deleted. Chariots are rolling around, keeping isolated units on their toes, running people over where they can, taking minimal damage in return. Same thing going on over here. The chariots are rolling on back, trying to drag the enemy army in to Sehenesmet's range. Name is going to cause me to have a hemorrhage here. Get on in there and give him a punch. The stomp, then the punch. No one can stop Sehenesmet. And he's got that bonus versus infantry, so he should annihilate these Graveguard. Looks like the leadership is breaking across the board, and Antoch has been purified. Back under Khemric control. And in quick order, we have claimed Antoch. We lost 3 brave warriors in doing so. The flamethrower cobras, they performed exactly as we expected. I cannot wait to use them on some more meaty targets. They got 90 kills total, which was not amazing compared to the 195 from our Tomb King's chariots there, but the city is ours.
Occupy it in my name.
We shall. And he gains the Vampire Slayer. Just in time. The Shifting Sands province now falls under our control. Looking afield, we've got the Plain of Tuskers and Sudenburg under Empire control at the current moment. Actually, neither of these are settlements that have any buildings for us, so we could bring Sigmar under our control as long as he acts good, but I think he's going to continue to try to burn down those books of Nagash, so we're going to have to be annihilating him. And then for Sehenesmet, his skill point for the victory, we will go for Army of Qatar. We definitely need some more Ushabti before we start going for his red line. But as far as his skills go, I think we'll go for Ussyrians, just to upgrade that skill to its max. For Berek, we'll go for Replenish Troops. Swing over to Apophis, who actually got some skills and I did not realize. We will give this good sir the Soul Sieve. Gonna give him a base weapon damage of plus 70% and 30 additional melee attack. Seems good to me.
A bold strategy.
And before we end our turn here, we're going to go ahead and use our Mortuary Cult to awaken a Priest of Tra, giving us an additional 6% campaign movement range and a -1 to corruption for the local province. We have gold, it needs golden idols, 80 Antoch jars, and 500 gold to go ahead and awaken, and you can craft as many of these as you want. We will grab the one and add it to Settra. And then we have the commandment available here at the Shifting Sands. We can go for Petra for even more growth. I think we will, but in due time. We're going to start off with the worship of Bach, and we will have, because we have the 4 building slots that are about to open on up, we would get 10% reduction to all the construction and 5% more income. And the last vestiges of Manfred's power have moved on in to die in honorable combat. I permit this. We will go ahead and actually harvest the organs of them to gain an additional to our 30 to our Canoptic jars. And we have some undead pirates. A rumor has reached us from far across the sea that a vampire has located a chamber of untold power deep within Lustria. Although he failed to harvest its power for his own on living ends, the chamber collapsed, releasing the magic trapped within. So we have for 10 turns, 10% more winds of magic when the strength is changing for the positive. Sounds good to me. Looks like Hierophant Hotmas has moved on in to try his luck at Kimri. That also sounds good. We assault some enemy units. Let's get some more skills. I think we need some experience. Get them, Nevathar. We need to weaken them up, especially since we now know that Arkhan is over here as well. Oh, very good. Success. Knocked out a very good chunk of those units. Got some sandy dire wolves. We will be moving quickly to crush them. For Nekaph here, we have access to his fatal blow. Though he slew many enemies at the behest of Settra, it was only when he fought duels on behalf of his king that the Herald's true warrior potential was reached. For he would fight all the harder knowing that the honor of his lord was at stake. Something far more important than his own life. Nekaph would deflect the blows of his opponents with consummate skills before delivering a fatal blow of his own. Gives him 50% more weapon damage and 15 melee attack for 15 seconds. Very good assassination ability. The Blades of Kimri have been upgraded to the Kepra Guard. They're going to be doing quite a bit more damage, and they're also going to be regenerating. Warner, you must die on the way to be stopping Hierophant Hotmas, almost called him Katep. We'll take this one to the auto resolve. And you, good sir, will give us even more jars. That is the truth. Rest in peace, Warner. And the Drakenhoff Conclave has been destroyed.
Find my harem.
So the plan for Sehenesmet then, since we have claimed Antoch, we can start making deals with Orion's camp.
What do you want?
How much would you... We could threaten him. He doesn't want to trade because he's rude.
The woods of Athel.
Cult of Sigmar is improving because we're at war with Khorne, Nagash, and the Drakenhoff Conclave. Lots of orcs want to make deals. I am good on making deals with orcs. That's where we've got to get on back north and stop them from invading Kimry. They can definitely both reach. Got a lot of Fellbats. We will have Senuferet as well. Wound heroes. He doesn't have any heroes I don't see. Even with Arkhan. We go into March Dance. Can we make it back into Kimry? The answer is no. We can stop people from making it to Kimry in general.
This is the wrong.
Biggest issue is that'd be 2 armies and we'd be in March Stance.
Settra the
I think we could handle it though. We have to keep Kimry safe. Good deal of Nehekar archers, 2 sets of catapults. You know what? Kimry is safe on its own. Let's go between. Oh, I'd love to reach Springs of Eternal Life, but if we can get closer to the Black Tower of Arkhan, everyone's going to be doing all of the trespassing on King Optos here. Sorry, you're not very intimidating, brother. And look how bad it's going to look real bad if we lose Kimry.
I am mighty, yes.
We can handle that army. And this force's only scariness is going to be the Casket of Souls. Hex-Wraiths as well. So if we focus down and use our magic all on the Hex-Wraiths, that'll be how we drag them down. Kimry's defenses consist of a lot of Tomb Guards, some good archers, some chariots.
Do not lie to
We can do it. That would be no problem. Let's send Senuferet over as well. Justy, we'll have you keep an eye on Scarbrand. You could also kick in the Sandstorm, but I don't think that would necessarily hurt them.
I shall make him proud.
Over here at Antoch, we can throw in some new buildings. I think we definitely just want Charnel Plaza and the growth building for now. Being very overly brave by not putting any defensive buildings in. At Bhagar, we definitely want the gemstone mine. And then here, I actually will probably go ahead and throw in the Desert Lookout, just because we're going to have a pyramid for King Alcazar as well, Alcatazar. And it's kind of in a centralized position here, so we want to make sure it's defended. Sounds good. And then Sehenesmet can move to the north. I don't see the Lizardmen declaring war on me for no reason. They might, but that would be 8 types of awful at this point. Or other building upgrades it says we can do. Over here in Qatar. We could upgrade the growth building. Do we want to, though? I think we'll save our money for now. We'll gain some more after fighting with Arkhan and Hierophant Hotmoss, but let's get to that. Our ambush did not quite work out how we expected, but King Anlam's here has been caught in March Stance. We can attack him without Optos attacking us, so let's get in here and smush this army. I'll have Nebethar continue to harass Hierophant Hotmoss here.
Drag their souls to Utera.
Gain a Legionnaire of Asaf. This knot of life at once untie, or venomous fool, be angry and dispatch. Let's see. Extra line of sight, 2% more ammunition, and 2% more missile strength for all of our archers. But he failed. Well, I guess fair enough. No Starbrand over that direction. Let's move this way now just to see. Yeah, he's staying north for now. I don't trust it, though. It'll be only a matter of time before he's back. Alright, let's get to this battle then. King Atmos, it is time. Or Hanlams, it is time. We could give that one to auto-resolve, but again, I think it would kill far more of our forces than we need it to. Because we're about to be fighting 2 more lords as well, so let's get in there and defeat King Anlams. He is on a skeletal steed, which makes it a little bit easier, because Settra is still bonus versus... Oh, he's bonus versus infantry now. Oh, no. It is time to send this rival's soul back to Usirian. Let's get this battle going. We'll stay in slow motion just to get a quick grasp of things. I've got the main body force kind of here in the middle. Got some archers up front to take any main hits from those Fellbats there. Office is off to the side, hoping to use his magic and abilities to wipe out their mobility as quickly as he can. If they do close the gap on him, they do not have magical attacks, so they will be doing very little. We got the archer chariots to harass the Fellbats. We didn't know where the Crypt Ghouls were until they got a little bit closer, so we were playing it a bit cautiously, hoping to annihilate those mobile troops as per usual. Speeding things on up. Their dogs have decided to go wide, which gives my chariots ample opportunity to corner and run them down. It's a massacre. Someone call PETA. And with the dire wolves being turned into jelly, the chariots can turn and deal with the approaching Fellbats. We have noticed the Crypt Ghouls at this point, so Settra is trotting on in on the War Kitty, bounding in to smack their Tomb King in the face as we have a biplane flying overhead. Hopefully you can't hear that, but if you could, that's exactly what was going on. The burning light of Traw giving them the old wallop, searing the flesh off their necrotic corpses. Not sure what these guys are doing. They're a bit lost. Tomb Swarm coming down, doing some more flesh ripping. A bit of damage going down per second, as well as Settra's ability to annihilate. Apophis stands alone. Hasn't quite been given another order yet, but these doggos have been shown the true meaning of war. He is now doing his transformation into scarab form. Gonna try out his movement ability a little bit here. Gotta try to get him a bit more mobile since he is a little bit slow. Get him into combat over here behind these other Crypt Ghouls if we can. Their lord has decided to wade into the golden host of Marok and some Tomb Guard. A very poor decision as they are the Kingslayers. And some necrotic Crypt Ghouls fighting against our Nekara warriors. Spinning dual blades, working wonders against those claws and improvised bone weapons. Their lord still, now he's decided, yeah, that was a really bad idea, and he's trying to escape, as the War Kitty coats itself in the crimson of the undead. They explode all over the place. Another beautiful charge from the chariots, jamifying all of the remaining Crypt Ghouls there, and any of his surviving skeleton warriors, as these poor spearmen have been left in the dust to choke on sand. The grip of Assyrian comes down on their prince, who is in the middle of some halberds, not where he wants to be. Prince is having a bit of, or their king rather, is having a bit of indecision, but Settra has locked eyes. The Pokemon battle is commencing. We had some Ushabti summon on in behind us. That one's got the great weapon, which is crazy awesome. That's going to be one of the Ushabti Ancients we'll get later on. They did spawn those into our archers there, so we had to pull them on away. Try to keep them alive. And with a single blow, fells the other Tomb King, ending his reign and his rebellion. And another Pretender King crushed. Settra gained 71 kills, Nekaph with a 127. All of the kills, of course, going to our chariots and the Casket of Souls. Unfortunately, though, it did land a nice direct hit in the middle of our Tomb Guard, giving them way more damage than we would want. We are going to go ahead and bind these souls. Barrect has been sent back to the tombs. Settra has gained himself some skill points. Just the one. We'll go for Traw the Great Father, giving our Tomb Princes even more recruit rank, more leadership for our Tomb Guard and chariots, as well as melee defense. Nekaph. I think we continue to make him even stronger. 526 melee attack, or weapon strength, rather. And then for Prince of Papus, we will use the Entombed Menace. Try out the Kepra Swarm. Settra can move on over and attack Arkhan the Black, and I do think it is time that we remove Arkhan from our territory. Is there any kind of upgrades we can give to the blades? Sehenesmet Spike would give us more against fighting humans. Hawk Legion would give them even more vigor. Do they have perfect vigor already? No, they do not. Well, I think we go for the Disciple of the Hawk Legion. It costs a lot of Canonic Jars, though, so maybe we hold off on that for now.
Imperishable.
Let's go defeat Arkhan. Boy, I missed. That could have been real bad. It's going to give us a close victory. We could auto-resolve it, defeat both of these armies, and lose not a soul. How does that feel, Arkhan? Nay, we will defeat you on the battlefield. Let's get it. All Settra knows about Arkhan the Black is that his fealty is to Nagash alone. None may rule over Nehekaran lands without pledging their unending loyalty and tribute to the King of Kings. This upstart king bolsters his forces with the use of tainted magics, but this will matter little when we crush them under the wheels of our chariots and purge these heretics with Petra's flame. It is time for the final stand of Arkhan the Black. Any Tomb King that wishes to clash with Settra directly will be ground underfoot. So, to start things off, we've got our mobile archer chariots off to this side. We can't see a majority of their army just yet. We can here in replay, but any of these that are back behind these Crypt Ghouls, this line here, I need to get the line going so I can actually paint stuff on, but anything that's behind this group is completely invisible, so we're trying to rush on in with our mobile units and see what's going on before I send Settra or anyone else forward. Get any blasts from their Casket of Souls back there. Let's get the battle going. Arkhan is an adept wizard, and so this Spear Leech is going to do a good chunk of damage to our chariots. Thankfully, did not go down on Apophis. Would have taken a good deal more. Our Casket of Souls showing off how sometimes being brought back, they don't get all of your eyes. 25% damage going off for that entangling body. Charging on in to try to eliminate their mobile units. As soon as they move to surround, the chariots will be charging on in as an actually effective blast comes on down. And they will be turning these dire wolves into hot dogs. Their Fellbats are all swarming on in with Arkhan as well to try to deal as much damage to my chariots and Apophis as they can. Again, he chooses to hit the Spirit Leech on the group of chariots he hit before, which is a surprising decision there. Most of the battle, he's going to be tied down with bats for now. They should not give him issues for too long. We do still have 30 seconds before their reinforcements are arriving, as we take a barrage in return from their Casket of Souls. The reason no damage was dealt here is I sent them directly through on the Casket of Souls, realized my mistake too late. Because if you give them the attack order, that's what happens. The Crypt Ghouls take about half, a little bit more than half damage. Riding them down like grass underfoot. Arkhan is engaged directly by Settra. We will get back to that battle here in a moment. The chariots were not doing a good deal to the Casket of Souls here. He's able to fend off their whips pretty well. I just can't reach him. And those Hex Rays are coming on in, so we need to get them out of that fight very soon. Chariots are rolling around, causing all sorts of problems. They have some spearmen on them from either side, though, so they do need to roll on out of there, which they do, especially since there's some reinforcing enemies coming on in from the back here. Some more mummies to crush. Swipe of the paw. Arkhan is taking an absolute ton of damage with every hit. Looks like in a duel between Settra and his War Kitty, Arkhan and his skeletal steed is not much of a fight. One more swipe. That should be it for the Arkhan the Black. He's still hanging in there. He's a tanky horse. Oh, that's it. He's run out of steam. Nagash will not be pleased. But Settra sees another lord, Hierophant. What is your name? Hatmas. Hierophant Hatmas. Your name will soon be lost to the annals of history. Another beautiful barrage going down, sending several of the enemy back to the Spirit Realm. Another group of Ushabti chasing our archers around. That tends to be their best play with them. They just drop them on our archers, and they've got to run. I've got a group of chariots going on over to intercept and try to bog them down for a moment while those archers retreat. And now that the Hex Rays have engaged, Settra's Blade of Patrosh should be going in very soon. And in those magical attacks that he's imbuing and all his allies will be ripping through those raids with little abandon. Much better that they're here with Settra than on any of our other units. Look how little damage they're doing. They would melt right through one of my Tomb Guard with swords. Absolute mosh pit here in the middle. We need to get these chariots moving so they're able to get their charge bonus rolling again. As the rest of our forces now engage to try to buy us a bit of time. Skeleton Warrior versus Tomb Guard should be an easy fight for the Tomb Guard. In death as it would be in life. Golden Host driving deep into the formation with their Chevron formation. However, they are going to be quickly surrounded and they're going to also need some assistance. Their Golden Bones will be providing them a bit more armor than most, though. Skeletal Spearmen going up against Tomb Guard, 2 units to 1. And the Hierophant has been located by Settra. His end is nigh. It'll be hard to locate the battle here in the water, so we'll allow Settra to bat him around. And we will go see some glorious chariot charging. Archer chariots were needing some assistance, so they crash on through, grinding bone to dust. As another beautiful barrage comes down, their leadership breaks, and Arkhan and Hierophant Hotmoss fall together. Nagash would be disappointed indeed. And Settra has gained revenge for Arkhan the Deceiver. Defeated Arkhan and his Hierophant in single combat. We did lose Settra's Deathbringers. They got 0 kills, but the others gained 200, all up nearly about 100 or more. 359 for our Casket of Souls. It is out there reaping. For the defeat of Arkhan, I think we're going to go for Endless March for 1,100. And Settra is now riding upon his Chariot of the Gods. Wheels ablaze with a mystical flame, the blessings of the gods are carried by this mighty chariot. And even though I do like the War Sphinx more, it is more lore accurate that Settra will be riding around on his chariot. Arkhan the Blackened. Lich King may have dark sorcery and the power of the Great Necromancer, but that's not always enough when facing massed ranks and hefty blades. 20 extra relations with Tomb Kings, and then 25% more weapon strength when fighting against vampire counts. That's going to be very nice when we come up against the other vampire count factions. Be cool if it actually counted for Arkhan as well. It may, it very well may. For Settra, he gained 2 skill points, which is amazing there. We'll go for Conqueror of the Passions to finish off his passive buffs, for 2 extra control for all of his provinces, and -3 control for local province enemies, and then 1 more recruit rank for his Lord's Army. Then we can start working on Master Charioteers. Nekaph, we will give him a Wound Maker. Maxes out at 20% more weapon strength. He's at 550. That'll take him all the way up to 578. For Apophis, we didn't get to try out the Entombed Menace like I wanted to, but we will do so very soon. We'll go for Hard to Hit for now. Continue to make them even scarier in combat. And since we did end up losing those chariots, can we get back into Kimry without... Are we in Kimry? The answer is no. So March Stance it is, and then back into Settra's Great City. Starbrand is still nowhere to be found, which is good. I have no problems with that. He can stay hidden. And then now we have to look ahead. Do we conquer the Empire in one fell swoop here? We bring Settra back over quickly, claim Sudenburg and the Plain of Tuskers at once, kind of how we did with Bhagar and Antoch, blitzing through. Or do we continue the attack on the Black Tower of Arkhan and claim a foothold against him? We are currently friends with King Oftos, and he will not attack us. we're a long ways off for the end times events, and I do not know that they will actually occur since we are Tomb Kings ourselves. Find out though.
Son of Nehikara.
As far as buildings, I'm happy to actually go ahead and throw the Scarab Obsidian now, since we should be able to go ahead and recruit them at least because of Apophis. So we can grab some Kepra's Swarm at some point there. And then we'll go ahead and grab the Regnant Catacombs here at Numos. Continue moving that growth on up. Lastly, we'll take a look at our diplomacy.
Lord of Athel-Loren.
Still not quite friendly enough with Athel-Loren yet, or the Bowmen of Orion, where they would like to do some trading.
Bring me Neferata's head.
I'd like to be friends with them and Tlaqua. Tlaqa's moving towards up. They really like that we're fighting with the War of Nagash, or the followers of Nagash, and we're fighting with the Drakenhoff Conclave. They do not like skeletons and our treaties with the Nekaph dynasty, though. So we'll have to work through that. Probably by continuing to war with their hated enemies. But for now, it is time for Settra to take back to his advisor chamber. Hope you all enjoyed part 3 from my Settra narrative campaign. If you have any tactics, tips, unit name suggestions, put it in the comments below. Let's start a discussion. But I am out of time for today. I have been Space Wizard of War. Remember to leave a like for the like god and a sub for the sub throne, and I will see you all in the next one.